I know I'm very late to this because this literally happened like 10 days ago, but better late than never, am I right? So Overwatch Cavalry posted something that really shocked me, and it really sucked to hear from me personally, and I'll get into that in a bit. So Overwatch Cavalry just posted an Overwatch 2 series was reportedly in development with Netflix. Jason Schreier, I don't know. Jason Schreier suggests that plans changed after Activision Blizzard sued Netflix in 2020 for poaching its CFO. And the source that they use is basically Jason just posting on Reddit. So we're gonna go ahead and read what the heck Jason said in this Reddit post. I'm Jason Schreier, reporter at Bloomberg and author of Play Nice, The Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment. Ask me anything. I'm Jason. You may know me from my work at Bloomberg, my podcast Triple Click, or my books Blood, Sweat, and Pixels and Press Reset. I've got a new book coming out on October 8th that is very relevant to the subreddit's interest. It's called Play Nice, The Rise, Fall, and Future of Blizzard Entertainment, and it chronicles the entire 33-year saga of the company behind World of Warcraft, from its humble beginnings as a porting company started by 2 UCLA students to its transformation into an empire, then its reckoning with sexual it's not funny, it's just didn't expect it, sorry. It's reckoning with a sexual harassment scandal and absorption into Microsoft, and then he kind of just expands more on that point. Now that's cool, that's nice, it's whatever. Now a commenter asks, any insights into why Blizzard hasn't branched out into movie/TV/animation? Yeah, the 2016 Warcraft film happened, but it seems strange how in the 20 plus years of World of Warcraft and even longer history of Blizzard's story-heavy IPs, they've been incredibly light on expanding from games. World of Warcraft books, short-lived comic series. Are they trying at all? Jason responds by saying the book reveals that they had series in development with Netflix for StarCraft, Overwatch, and Diablo, but and then puts a link, and that link takes us to an article seemingly under Variety written by Gene Mattis. Netflix sued again for poaching, this time by Activision Blizzard. And this article was posted on the 4th of December 2020, by the way. So we're talking almost 4 years ago at this point. Now, I'm not going to read the article, but I am going to sum it up. Now, before 2020, Netflix did have a history of luring away employees from other companies, right? In a sort of unethical way. And in a suit on Friday, Activision Blizzard accused the streamer of showing contempt for state employment law when it poached the company's chief financial officer 2 years ago. Meaning that, I'm guessing 2018, they poached one of Activision Blizzard employees. Well, let me not say poached, but hired a, Blizzard employee. In the latest case, Activision alleges that Netflix hired away CFO Spencer Newman when he was less than 2 years into a 3-year contract. According to Activision, Netflix co-CEO Reed Hastings was actively involved in the effort to bring Newman on board. Newman joined Netflix as a CFO in January 2019. At the time, Activision told investors that Newman had been terminated for cause for violating his legal obligations to the company, indicating that he had violated his no shop clause. That's kind of the important bits about this article. Now we kind of have all the context, sort of. I mean, the article does have the actual court documents, by the way, but I'm not reading all that. So just to summarize, apparently Netflix and Activision were working on series not just for Overwatch, but for multiple IPs, Diablo, StarCraft, and Overwatch. It is correct to say that Spencer Newman was poached because he was still under contract, and I don't know if the court case is still going on, but I think that's all there is right now. So what do I think about it? I think it's a very unfortunate thing, but I think it's also a very fair thing. Let me explain. So originally when I saw the tweets, because I didn't just see it from Overwatch Cavalry, I saw it from a bunch of different news pages, right? Basically just saying like, yo, there was going to be an Overwatch series, but then Netflix and Blizzard had a kerfuffle and they stopped. And obviously from that standpoint, I was like, that's super unfortunate. Like if you tune into the streams or watch my videos, then you guys would know that the best way that I saw like Overwatch kind of bringing itself back was through a Netflix adaptation or just making a series out of Overwatch. Because excluding the game, the story of Overwatch is so done and excellently executed. I haven't really met a person that hates like the lore of Overwatch or like a lot of the cinematics or any of the characters. There's so much love for every single character. Personally, I don't really have a problem with the story. I'm not going to say I'm very invested with the story, but I would be very invested with the story if there was like a series, That's the one thing that I think, Overwatch does really well. It's the creative team with, the animations and the story. So the fact that we were kind of in a grasp to be able to get an actual show, you know, that would have been pretty peak. But at the same time, I can understand why Activision Blizzard didn't follow through. Like, guys, poaching employees from another company while that person that you're poaching is under a contract is very unethical business-wise. And imagine that's during the time that you're making a show with these people as well. Like, I think you can put yourselves in the shoes of a CEO and see how unethical that is, right? Like, you are a business working with another business on making a product, and this other business poaches an employee that you have and thinks it's like business as usual. Doesn't really make sense. However, it does suck to hear that that's what it took to kind of just splat all the plans, right? Like, it would still be really cool even with the poaching thing, you know, they still would be able to work out some kind of deal of like, okay, you know, we're really mad that you guys did this thing, right? But we can still like work on a show together. Or at the very least, like, they could have seeked other alternative options. Like, they could have went to Amazon, HBO, maybe done a little thing on YouTube where they just post a series on YouTube, you know. That would have been really great. But something I'm definitely speculating about the whole thing is I think that the series that was being worked on in 2020 concerning Overwatch was going to tie into the debut of Overwatch 2. Like, Overwatch 2 came out when, like, near the end of 2022, I think. It was probably going to tie into the debut of Overwatch 2. They probably would have showcased some new characters, some people that we've never seen before, not really tied into the current events of the game, but tied into the Overwatch universe and thus push the story. But I think definitely like episode 1 was definitely going to be like, hey, I'm Kiriko. Hey, I'm Venture. Hey, I'm Maga. You know, that type of thing. Just showing off different characters that would be added into the game. Like, I don't think they would have just raw dogged the release of an Overwatch series, even at that point. Tying it in with the game would have definitely helped Overwatch, I guess, explode in terms of popularity. Because I'm pretty sure even for the people who hate Overwatch, and a lot of people hate Overwatch, but one thing that a lot of people, even the haters, like about Overwatch at the very least is the story, the characters, the creative side of it. All the characters are unique. They have their own personalities, and I've never really heard hate about a character unless it's saying Venture's ugly, which is like, okay, bro. So if it was the same creative team, possibly even same animation team with additional more people to, you know, push out the series, then sure, I do think it definitely would have been successful. It does suck that it's just completely in the bin now because they're suing, because it's something that I've always thought like just made sense for Blizzard to do with Overwatch. Like, Overwatch has a really good story. I think Overwatch pushes out comics, but I don't hear about those like at all. It would have been really cool to see the creative team make a proper series, and it's something that I've always said would have, you know, brought back Overwatch and, you know, tied into a future success of possibly even turning the game's reputation around, because the game's reputation is unfortunately, you know, tied to the sexual harassment charges and such. I'd also like to think the source from Variety is super, you know, reliable, because literally one of the employees or ex-employees, I think he's retired now, Jason, literally referenced the article. So it's gotta be mostly accurate, because, you know, bro has worked there. He can know like, hey, this is right, hey, this is wrong. So I'd like to think that this source is very reliable in terms of the documenting of the whole thing. I mean, I hope that it's maybe not completely in the bin. I mean, they're definitely not going to be working with Netflix ever again. That's what I would assume. But it would be cool if they could work with, you know, someone else, some other people. I think Invincible's like a Amazon exclusive. I'm not too sure. You know, hopefully backstage they are working on something series related, because I still do think that a series can really help with this game's reputation. They could probably like pull off an Arcane. Not to say that League of Legends fell off or anything. Like, League of Legends is a top game as much as I dislike it. But, you know, they could have pulled an Arcane and say like, yo, everything about this show is so cool. Now I am invested in Overwatch. Because I'm pretty sure there's some people who didn't know about League, watched Arcane, and maybe played some League. Even though the story's not the same, there's definitely people that like discovered that like, hey, Arcane derives from League of Legends, and League of Legends is this video game, and just overall just increase in popularity. I think it definitely would have helped with the numbers of the game, because Overwatch's story is already fine on its own. Like, Arcane is a completely different story from what's going on in League of Legends. They just use the characters as these kind of like, for lack of a better term, placeholders. But with Overwatch, they could have just done like, hey, this is what's going on in the game as well, and now we're just going to put it into a show. And it would have tied into the game and thus increased people's, you know, curiosity of playing the game. Could have boosted up numbers for sure, I think. But yeah, I'm just kind of rinsing and repeating what I'm saying right now. Overall, super unfortunate, however, very understandable from a business standpoint. Hopefully they're, you know, working on something like a series, possibly with another company. And yeah, I think that's all I really have to say. So if you have enjoyed this video, then please do leave a like. That'd be greatly appreciated if you do want to, of course. And also, if you're going to check out my other videos or past streams or whatever the case may be, then please do subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated if you do want to, of course. I really mean it when I say that like an Overwatch TV show on Netflix or on like an exclusive streaming site, a very popular streaming site, could show people that like, yo, the game might suck, but the story of Overwatch is super duper cool, and maybe that might incentivize people to play the game. I do have a Twitter and I do have an Instagram if you do want to check those out, links in description. I do have a goal of trying to ratio Mr. Beast over there on Twitter, and in order to do that, I'm going to need more followers over there, and in order to get more followers over there, I'm going to need more followers over here, so you know exactly what to do. What do you think about this whole thing? Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you think it's the right move to have an Overwatch TV show? Or maybe you think that Netflix isn't the best type of company to handle that sort of thing. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I said? If so, why? How old is your Steam account? Anything you possibly have to say, you can put it down in the comments below and I'll probably acknowledge it. And you know what it is, guys. Peace.